Problem 5-65. A woman plans to invest X dollars. Her investment counselor advises her that a safe plan is to invest 30% of that money in bonds and 70% in low-risk stocks. The bonds currently have a simple interest rate of 7%, and the stock has a dividend rate, which is like simple interest, of 9%. Letter A. Write an expression for the annual income that will come from the bond investment. So before we actually do that here, let's just go ahead here and let's define a variable. Let's say let x equal the amount of money the woman is investing. Okay, so that's important. You got to know what x is if you're going to use it in expressions here. So, talking about the annual income that she's going to get from the bonds. So, if we think about it, for her bonds, she's going to invest 30% of her money into those. And they pay a simple interest rate of 7%. So to figure out how much she's investing into bonds, we're going to take 30% and multiply it times the amount that she's invested. So if we think here, let's do 30% would be like saying 0.3. So she's going to take 30% of what she's investing, so it'd be like 0.3 times x. This would give her the total amount that she's invested in bonds. And which means then if she's going to make 7% of that back, we're going to have to take this amount and multiply it by 7%. So what we'll have here is, for her bonds, she's going to be getting 7% times the amount that she invested in bonds, which would be 0.3x. That is going to represent the annual income from the bond investment. Now let's look at the stocks, because she invested 70% in low risk stocks, and she's going to get 9% of that back. So if you have a chance, pause the video, see if you come up with it, and then check to see if you're right. So she's going to take 70%, which is 0.7, it's like 70 cents, times the amount that she's investing. So the total amount she's investing times 70% would give you the total amount invested in stocks. So the total amount she's invested times 70% would give you 70% of what she invested, right? Like we said. But now she's going to get 9% of that back in as simple interest there, or I'm sorry, her dividend rate. Well, to figure out how much that is, we're going to have to take 9%, which is like 9 cents, times the total amount invested in the stocks. So 0.7x. This expression here will represent the annual income That will come from the stock investment there. 9% of the total amount she's invested in stocks. Then letter C, write an equation and solve it to find out how much the client needs to invest to have an annual income of $5,000. Well, if it's an annual income of $5,000, that means we're going to have to take the income from the stocks and the income from the bonds, and if we add them together, it should equal $5,000. So to get our equation, just think about that. This amount and this amount, when we combine them or add them together, it should equal $5,000. Let's go ahead here and add those together then. 0.07 times 0.3x plus 0.09 times 0.7x should equal 5,000. Let's solve it here. If I have 7/100 times 3/10, that should give me, and you can use your calculator if you need to. Some people struggle a little bit with decimals. So I should get 0.021 plus, if I do 7/10 times 9/100, I should end up with 0.063 times x equals 5,000. Well, if we add these two together here, that should give us 0.084. X equals 5,000, or 84 thousandths. And then let's just go ahead and get x by itself. So when I do 5,000 divided by 0.084, I should end up with approximately 59,000 $523.81. I think I can go ahead and screw that up there. $523.81. Looks like pretty good income to me. Alright, this is problem 5-65. Here is our answer for A, here's our answer for B, and then our answer for C is down here. If you have questions, make sure you ask your teacher. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.